It actually exists. The Shenmue anime is officially here. Now, so far we only have a single episode, but I feel like it gives us our first real glimpse as to what the heck this series is really going to be. So what I've decided to do is currently I'm filming this at a little bit past 1 a.m. because I just watched the first episode of the anime twice. Once in English and once in Japanese to see the differences in the acting styles. And I want to kind of just dissect every aspect of this first episode and sort of what I think it conveys about the Shenmue anime as it's probably going to basically be presented. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Now, keep in mind, I am DreamcastGuy. I'm the biggest fanboy in the world for Shenmue itself. In fact, that's why I have things like so many hours in the games. I own every version, every box set, every collector's edition. I've got the platinum trophies for all the games. I love Shenmue. But my biggest concern with the series is that we would never see its conclusion. I want justice. If you've never played Shenmue, if you don't know exactly what it's about, it's essentially this story of revenge. A kid named Ryo Hazuki unfortunately sees his father gets brutally beaten to death by some mysterious kung fu master by the name of Lan Di, and he decides, since he himself is a trained martial artist, that he's going to try and track him down and exact that blood vengeance. My biggest concern with the show before it actually started was that it would look cheap, because let's face it, this is a very bizarre product. Shenmue is not the most popular game series on the planet, so the fact that it actually is getting a full-blown anime adaptation is very, very impressive, but I thought it might be very low budget. Thankfully, that is not the case. Every frame of this looks so clean, so good, especially the new spots we're getting a chance to see, which I want to talk a lot more about here in a second. But the biggest thing about this is that I can't show you video of it. I can only show you screenshots because Adult Swim lawyers are absolute jerks. But here's the thing. I was actually interested in how they decided to do stuff in such an anime style. I thought they might try and stick a little bit more close to the original freaking thing they were attempting to do with Shenmue was this, early 2000s realism. Everybody has veins in their hands and cracks across their faces, and as they try and grunt with pain, they wince in an appropriate fashion. The anime, it's certainly going for that more interesting aesthetic, elongated arms during a power punch, or trying to make it where as you're getting hit, all the speed lines and stuff. There is a forcible motion to a lot of this that seems really exceedingly good. And more than that, I actually want to say that the use of force in this is very smart. You see, some of the new stuff that they've decided to add to the animation, and what makes it my most excited part about this adaptation, is that it looks like the Shenmue anime is going to have a lot of new lore in it. You see, in the past, Ryo Hazuki kind of just showed up. The original game begins with the murder of your father, and from there, you start to just wander around the city asking people where sailors are at, because yes, that literally exists in the game itself. So I was curious, how do you make that into a straightforward story that's easily consumable? This has to be approachable from the mainstream audience. Well, the way they've decided to do that is show more about the backstory of Ryo as a student. This actually begins with him participating in a tournament at school, a martial arts thing to try and get a scholarship. If he wins this fight, he's going to get a free ride to college. That's very, very good for his probably relatively poor family. It's something that really kind of shows the fact that there is a human side of Ryu that was lost with the death of his father. This is something that I feel like has never really been explored that much. Like, the games begin with you being the character, and Ryo at times felt like he was just overly silent, overly reflective at times, in a way for us to sort of pour ourselves into it. It's definitely something that a lot of video games do, which is that they try and make it where the protagonist can be more stoic, so you're able to just basically put on the skin of them. Ryu feels much more like a fleshed out, realistic person. He is sad when his father dies. He laughs with his friends. He's happy when he gets that big punch. And more than that, I like the fact that they're showing that Ryo is an incredibly adept fighter. Watching him win those fights in the first episode really kind of just showed to me the fact that Ryo is definitely a badass. He is the main character of his story, and I'm ready to see him get stronger and train and figure things out. And I'm excited to see more of that aspect of it. The animation really lends itself to when he's doing those blows and stuff, there is a push to it. Let's just face facts. The combat is incredibly fun in Shenmue, but it's also a little bit strange. Like, I've decided to record a bunch of it right here. Like, a lot of times while you're trying to walk around and punch people or do those spin kick combos and stuff, it's very, very stiff. The way they've chosen to animate those exact hits into this, but in such a smooth fashion, is a very, very impressive feat. Like, I like everything about this, but especially some of the new lines, these extra lines of dialogue. Some of the stuff that these characters say is directly from the video game. Lots of keep your friends close. Like, a lot of the stuff is just straight from the page into the thing. And I like that. Of course, it's paying homage, it's giving credit, it's showing the fans what we want, which is the video game, but in a new medium. I'm curious to see this extra additional stuff, these little extra lines between Lan Di after he kills your father, saying that you're not ready to fight me. I appreciate the fact that in a very, very strange way, this anime is better at being a video game. Now let me talk a little bit about the strangeness of this. It feels like they're going to attempt to combine the stories of Shenmue 1 and Shenmue 2 more seamlessly than they originally existed. Shenmue 1 took place in Japan, Shenmue 2 takes place in China. Now, when this happens in the game, it feels like this big, gigantic jump. You get on a boat, you go to this separate country, it feels like a very big deal. Even in this first episode, we're seeing scenes in China. We're seeing these other just things happening with Shenhua, who's very much what this game series might be named about. We don't even know. It's interesting to me that they're trying to tell this very straightforward story in an even more very streamlined fashion. We'll see if it pays off in the end, but right now, my biggest concern is if we're going to get past the story in Shenmue 3. Now, I'm going to get a little bit of hate for this. I just want the conclusion to Shenmue story. I want to figure out what actually happens, where we're going with this, what is the grand point. In fact, I have a video from literally 10 years ago where I'm just asking for the ending to Shenmue. Like, even this, 10 years ago.
You, Suzuki, just write a fucking book. Just call it Shenmue 3, the novel, where it suddenly turns out that Lan Di is his real father, and that if you put the two dragon plates together, they suddenly turn into solid gold and shoot lasers. And
as such a hardcore fan of the Shenmue series, I feel like the fact that they're still talking about trying to make Shenmue 4 and Shenmue 5 and Shenmue 6 and stuff like that, I kind of wish that we had some sort of ending. I'm not asking for the conclusion of everything, but I'm just hoping that this anime gets watched. I hope this anime gets successful. I hope this anime gets seasons, but I hope this anime takes us further than the video games were. Like, straight up, as you saw in that video from a decade ago, I just want a conclusion, even if it takes it becoming a manga or a book. This is just an interesting turn. I'm wondering if this is going to end up stirring more curiosity about the series. I wonder if this can get some outside funding, because right now, Shenmue 4 seems like it might be a very long way off. Like, I'm a big fan of Shenmue 1 specifically. Love, love, love it. Shenmue 2, Shenmue 3 to a much lesser degree, but I'm curious if maybe some sort of outside influences, maybe Crunchyroll helps fund it, maybe Adult Swim starts to fit the bill to make sure we see some sort of ending to the Shenmue fairy tale. I like all this, but let's see how it goes. This is still an early thing, but right now it has been an exceptionally good first episode. Who knows where we're going from here? There was some teases during the credits, like him driving a forklift. I'm very much ready for it. Did you get a chance to see this Shenmue anime? Do you even know what Shenmue is? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below, and also do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Because honestly, this is the dream come true. Shenmue anime. I can't believe this is real. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.